What's going on, everyone? Today, 79% of the S&P 500 closed up in the green, and there was so much opportunity, and we're set for a pretty exciting day in the market tomorrow as well. We have a lot to cover today as HIM's stock exploded to the upside so much that its options today moved up by 15,000%, which was insane to see, and we're going to talk a lot more about this as the video goes on, but there is a lot of other stuff going on in the market right now as Apple just unveiled a new product and its stock is moving to the upside in a pretty strong way. Trump also signed in some new tariffs and signaled more are to come, and he also mentioned how military spending could be halved pretty soon. At the same time, the Nasdaq is doing something pretty special right now, and we're seeing a lot of great movement on multiple different fronts. We have one more day left of the week, so let's make it a good one, Tom.
Yeah, this is awesome. We saw some great price action here today. I really love the price action out of the QQQ and even the SPY, which is right up back to its all-time high, right around $610. We might see a new all-time high post here by the end of the week if this keeps going at this pace. But I will say, while this week is so awesome, next week is actually going to be a short one. We are set for a holiday on Monday. It's going to be Washington's birthday. So Monday, February 17th, there is no trading. We wanted to make everybody aware of this so that as you go into Friday, you can adjust for this appropriately. But Mike, today there was a lot of action. I know right off the bat, you mentioned HIMS. This stock is insane, up 27%, and they're really moving off of this new Super Bowl ad that they did, and I thought that they did a really good job with this ad. Now, you can go check it out, obviously, it's all over the place, but there was a 650% spike in traffic following this ad. And, the ad, like I said, I thought that they strategized pretty good on it, but at the end of the day, it ended up hitting, and the stock is having a great reaction from this.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Hims and Hers is a company that has just been absolutely crushing it over the past year. They service people's various different needs, and they are just booming right now. Let alone the ad, they just have a ton of momentum, and they also have like a 33% short float. So as the stock continues to move up like it is, all of the short sellers are panicking right now because, they have like theoretically unlimited risk, and as the stock continues to moon, it just puts more and more pressure on them. Like I mentioned in the intro, this stock moved up so much today that some of its options, like the 56 strike calls that expire tomorrow, moved up by over 15,000% today. So either way, keep an extremely close eye on this one for tomorrow because it is moving a ton, and that means in both directions. So that this does not mean just buy call options and cross your fingers and hope for the best. So with that being said, Tom, what are the most important levels to look at for this one for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's in uncharted territory right now, and there's really nothing overhead, but it did close very close to $60 today, and honestly, I think that that's going to be a major level for tomorrow. It could end up breaking that in pre-market, so definitely watch for that. If it breaks that in pre-market, then maybe watch it as a good support level, but going to the Bookmap, you can see that $60 is definitely a decent sell wall. There was around 20,000 shares stacked up around the end of the day, right there at $60, and above 60, you can tell that there's a little bit of sellers around 61, 62, but really there's nothing overhead until 66, where there's another stack of like 16,000 shares. So there's kind of this like dead air or like open space between like 60 and 66. And if we see a good breakout tomorrow morning, I'm definitely going to have my eyes on 66. And I was scouting some levels above 66, and there was really nothing significant above there. So for tomorrow, this is definitely what I have on watch with HIMS.
Sounds good. And like you mentioned, the skies are clear because it's at all-time highs, so there are no past strong levels to look at. So you just have to look at the Bookmap in this instance and just understand that this stock is trending in an extremely strong way. Most of its movement has been to the upside, but don't be all that surprised if we see at least a temporary reversal of direction, and don't be afraid to trade along with that either. Either way, this stock is trending, I would say, stronger than almost anything else out there at the moment. So keep it close on watch. But Tom, Apple had a very good day today, and I would say that's somewhat rare for Apple over these past few weeks.
Yeah, I know Apple's actually been getting a lot of flack lately. A lot of people are kind of like upset that their phones cost too much money and everything like that. And of course, there's been a lot of bad news with China, but Apple's doing pretty good today as they're coming out with a new unveiling, and this is pretty big. So they came out with their iPhone SE4, and this is their cheaper version of the iPhone. It's more economical, more budget friendly, and it might not have all the gadgets that like the iPhones, the Pro models have or something along those lines. But at the end of the day, I think it's a good thing for Apple, and obviously the market really thought it was a good thing, right? Like, who cares what I think? The market really liked it here, being up 2% almost.
Exactly. So yeah, they scheduled this product launch event for February 19th. So that will be next week, which is exciting. But yeah, the stock is moving in a pretty strong way. It's another one worth keeping on the radar for multiple reasons. When you see movement and momentum and just like price action like this, it's very good. And we could see that intraday, it didn't really pull back that much. And even when it did pull back, it popped right back up to its all-time, or not its all-time highs. It popped right back up to its high of day fairly quickly, which shows you that the buyers in this situation were fairly urgent and resilient as well, given how little the stock drew down by. But either way, keep it close on watch. What are the most important levels here?
I really like 242 to the upside. I've actually had this as a pretty good resistance for a long time, and I was actually watching 240 a ton today, and you can see how much momentum really got Apple through 240, and whenever you talked about that intraday pullback, it pulled back very close to that 240 support. Well, it was resistance, which became support, so I want to explain that so people don't get overly confused there. But with Apple, Mike, on the daily chart, you can see it's starting to trend up pretty well. It was pretty weak over the past couple of months, and it is getting past that good 240 resistance. So that is a great sign. There is a bit of resistance still, like I said, at 242 though, to keep your eyes on. Once we break this, 245 is the next main target in my eyes.
All right, sounds great there. And then as we know, we've had a very exciting earnings week as we've seen some serious moves from multiple different stocks. And today in after hours, we had Coinbase, DraftKings, and a handful of other companies report. And I would say it was a reasonably exciting earnings day today. Coinbase didn't really move too much, but DraftKings had some pretty decent upside movement. And now they're up to like $49 a share in after hours, which, certainly isn't as crazy as some of the earnings stocks from this week, but it's definitely good to see.
Yeah, and this really excites me for a couple reasons. I'm a big player of DraftKings. I'm definitely a fan of them and a fan of this move. So let's go DraftKings up to around $50 a share now. We'll take it. But DraftKings has actually been in a pretty bad downtrend overall on the daily chart for a long time, stretching back to like the beginning of 2021. With this move today in after hours, they're starting to finally like get up and out of this trend. So overall, this is a great sign to see in the short term, and it's breaking that trend of these lower highs as it's starting to get this push. So I think that this is a great sign for DraftKings, and as we know, the sports betting industry has definitely been growing a lot in the short term. So I'm going to keep them on the radar for the next couple days and even the next few weeks. But Moderna will be reporting tomorrow morning as well. I know that they've had quite a bit of news in the short term, so keep them on the radar.
Very nice. And then, guys, don't forget about the previous earnings reports from earlier this week, too. Robinhood and CVS, just from yesterday, had great moves. But remember that there's a lot of opportunity playing the move after the report. And oftentimes, this is actually the smarter way to trade earnings rather than buying way overpriced options and then just hoping for the best. So either way, keep a close eye on those stocks as well. But Tom, we do have some economic data set for tomorrow. We have retail sales data set to come in 1 hour before open, but realistically, this data won't be as important as some of our other reports this week.
Yeah, I would say not. And overall, we'd have seen just so much good news and just crazy data in the short term that obviously like retail sales and like even PPI data from today, like they're very important pieces of data. So we definitely want to let you guys know. But at the end of the day, it's definitely no Powell speech, no CPI data, or definitely not Trump talking about the tariffs either.
Speaking of that, Tom, what is the Trump news from today? And I know there's a lot.
Yeah, this is a wild one. So everybody was waiting today. Trump was supposed to do a reciprocal tariff plan, and he was supposed to sign this into action at 1 p.m. It ended up coming out a little bit later, at least the live feed did of it, but the news was hitting pretty much all day. So we talked about, Mike, how he was going to do these sweeping tariffs, pretty much reciprocal to every country that tariffs us. We're going to tariff them. Today, he signed this plan into action. Now, this plan will not be, it won't like, we'll say, put the tariffs into effect right away. What they're going to do is they have this whole plan where they're going to be doing studies, and they're going to look at how they're going to be tariffing these other countries compared to how they tariff us and different things along those lines. So definitely be ready on April 1st. They said that this is where they expect this to be done. So Mike, I guess we'll be hearing a lot about this as we get closer and closer to April 1st.
Yes, and like as we know, tariffs are extremely important, not just in a geopolitical sense and not just in a country sense, but especially for like the stock market. It impacts many different things, and while these tariffs are definitely big, Trump says more tariffs are coming as well, especially related to automobile imports, pharmaceuticals, and maybe even other things. So do not ignore this tariff news. It is more important than you think. And I remember back in 2018, in like a much more intense sense, we had a pretty big like tariff trade war with China, and that sent the markets into a frenzy. Of course, that is a completely different situation compared to what we're in now, but this goes to show you the reason why you should not underestimate news like this. On top of that, Trump also had some pretty big news today related to Pentagon spending and how it could potentially be cut in half.
Yeah, and that was terrible for defense stocks. Like Lockheed Martin ended up getting crushed intraday today on this news. You can see just how much selling pressure ended up coming in. But overall, we're seeing a lot of talk in the short term, Mike, about anti-war efforts. And what Trump is really doing here is he's trying to just get anti-war efforts like across the board going. He's talking about denuclearization. He's talking about cutting Pentagon spending, says it could be cut in half. He's actually talked about talking to President Xi and Putin. He said that this was actually one of his top priorities in the short term and one of the first meetings that he would be doing whenever things start to settle down a little bit. So I think this is actually really good talk. Now, obviously, some people might think maybe it's not, but at the end of the day, I think that denuclearization and stuff could save us a ton of money, and that stuff could be used in other places. But it definitely hurt defense stocks, though, like Lockheed Martin, RTX, General Dynamics, and many more were down in the red today.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but many investors' beloved Palantir is also at risk to this, at least a little bit. When you have, Pentagon spending potentially, getting cut in half, that affects many different industries in multiple different ways. Of course, the traditional defense stocks, like you mentioned, are what's getting like most of the downside price action right now. But of course, Palantir is something to keep on the radar for a situation like this. I think Palantir is much better positioned than other companies, but as a Palantir shareholder, I think this news is at least worth acknowledging.
Yeah, me too. 100%. Like, and, we're talking about they're looking at spending across the board on pretty much everything. And I would not be surprised if something hit the headlines eventually regarding this situation. And then, they even talk about like Ukraine and Russia. That war ending can even hurt some of these defense stocks as well a little bit. But it's definitely a big situation whenever you talk about, Trump and tariffs and like spending, because of course it just impacts so many things. And we've been talking about this, Mike, how it just impacts the stock market. And I'm wondering if the stock market actually liked a lot of this news from today, because of course, anti-war news and stuff is generally thought of as being fairly positive.
No doubt. And, looking at, let's say, SPY more in depth, today was a great day, but what are like the key levels to watch for tomorrow? And, what are we seeing in terms of the charts now? I know SPY has been chopping around for most of the recent, price action, but it looks like we are starting to pick up a little bit momentum here, which is a really good sign.
Yeah, it really is, Mike. And we've seen the SPY in a trend of lower highs for a long time now. And I'm actually going to go back on like a 15-minute chart. We're going to zoom out a little bit here because the SPY has been peaking out around this $610 resistance level. And ever since it peaked out there, it has been doing nothing but just making another low after another low, right? And we're kind of stuck in this little pattern in the short term. And right now, with that move today up above 608, that really broke this trend. Now we're right back to this resistance, very close to $610. For tomorrow, 610 even is definitely on the radar as it's up right around those peaks. And you can even see how there's a little extension just above that, very close to 611. So I'm going to be watching 610 and 611. If the SPY can break out there, I think that would make for some fantastic short-term price action. The SPY has been stuck at these levels for a long time, and there's been a lot of positivity in the short term. So if we do see that momentum continue tomorrow, that's what I'm watching for to the upside. If we do see SPY dip, 608 and then 606 are going to be the most crucial supports that I watch. Those were very large resistances that ended up giving out today, and especially 608, that really needs to hold up.
Awesome, and it is making me feel a lot better that we're getting further and further away from that crucial $600 level, because we tested that pretty strongly this week, and this is a crucial level, so it is good to see us getting closer to the all-time high again and putting some like consistent and strong pressure on some of these more recent highs. So great stuff there, and it is very awesome to see price action like this. And while SPY is doing great, it's also worth noting that the NASDAQ, or QQQ, is also doing very great, as it is on a 484 trading day bull trend, as it has been 484 trading days above its 200-day simple moving average. And this is actually one of the strongest trends since we've seen since 1985.
That's pretty crazy, and I know that we've seen a few charts like this showing in the short term some stocks above their moving averages, but man, the QQQ, or like the NASDAQ, will just say, 484 days. That is pretty insane. I wonder if we're going to push the streak, right? That would be pretty awesome to get to that streak. And with how 2025 has been going, honestly, I would not be surprised. I just hope that there's not a lot of war fears that end up coming out this weekend with this whole Gaza situation.
Yep, we shall see. But besides that, Tom, let's get right into some setups and predictions. A stock that is definitely on my radar right now is Intel, and it is to the upside. I know I've been talking about this stock a ton over the past week, but it has just been a phenomenal stock to trade this week, and the momentum and movement has just been a blessing. Looking at Intel right now, it has great price action, and it's building more and more momentum off of its just recent lows. This stock has been oversold for quite some time now, and we're really just seeing a lot of just like bullish flows come in all at once. While this stock is getting to the point where there is some risk of overextension to the upside, stocks can get overextended and stay that way for extended periods of time, as demonstrated with multiple different stocks. But the main point is that we are seeing a lot of strong inflows with Intel right now, and I think that there's opportunity riding this uptrend for as long as it continues to put pressure on its recent highs. If Intel stock gaps down by 4% tomorrow and it starts selling off, then the uptrend is it's changed, right? And it's not really worth fighting at that point. But again, for as long as it keeps up this price action, there's opportunity.
Yeah, this is great. And whenever you go intraday, especially like it opened the past few trading days, we've seen some amazing price action, and just even into the afternoons, just holding up very, very well. And I love how it's like has a pretty clear resistance overhead for tomorrow as well. With my first play, I just wanted to go back to HIMS really quickly, Mike. Now, this isn't going to be my first play here, but I had to do a quick second mention of HIMS because I just really love this overhead resistance at $60. And the Bookmap is just looking so perfect on this, where we can really see this huge dead zone up above 60 towards 66. Hopefully tomorrow it doesn't just rip above 60 in pre-market, and we can see that good opportunity when the market opens. But I'm definitely going to be watching for that breakup into that zone. If you guys are interested in Bookmap, definitely check out the link in the description down below. There's some really good specials that they have going on if you use our link, and I particularly like the 3-month deal. I think it's a really good special. Definitely check that out. But Mike, with my first real play today, we're going back to Nancy Pelosi, ticker symbol TEM, Tempest AI. All right, guys, Tempest did it. I was really skeptical of Tempest at this resistance, Mike. Today, it broke through the resistance like it was nothing. We broke through $80 and ran almost up to $90. For tomorrow, if Tempest can break through the high of day, very close to 86, I'm going to keep watching it up. But I gotta say with Nancy on this one, I love you, Nancy.
This stock has been crushing it. So yeah, it's definitely worth keeping on the radar. The momentum has been amazing. Another stock that is close on watch though is much more boring than TEM, and it is CVS, but its price action has been really great in the short term, and this is an earnings continuation play, which makes it at least a little bit more exciting. But looking at CVS, it has been uptrending pretty strongly, not over the past week, but honestly, since the start of the year. It has a lot of short-term momentum, and, similar to the Intel play, the more pressure it puts on these recent highs, the better the setup becomes for multiple reflexive reasons. But either way, it's definitely on my bullish radar, and I would love to see it break back above that $67.50 area.
Yeah, that was crazy today with CVS. The way that it ran up at open and dipped a little bit and then made that high of day break. And it was like when it broke out above that high of day, it was like no slouch either. It was like a second, like 2 to 3% move there. So definitely a pretty good one. With my next stock, I'm looking at ACB to the upside. Now, I found this one to be extremely interesting, Mike, because a lot of these MJ stocks have been kind of lagging over the past couple of weeks, but ACB, since it had that big pop with earnings, it's been kind of sticking up here around resistance and coiling in a way. For tomorrow, I'm really going to look above a high, above this breakout, above this recent high, around $6.90. If we see the break, then I'm going to watch ACB to the upside, but I'm still watching these MJ stocks a little bit. RFK has still been in the news as he was put in today as the HHS secretary, so maybe we'll see a little bit of more action out of the MJ stock soon.
Very interesting. And, when it had that momentum just a few weeks ago, it was moving in like an extremely strong way. And I definitely do think it's worth keeping on the radar, especially given how close it has stayed to its recent highs. So good stuff there. And I will also watch this one very closely. But besides that, Tom, it's now about that time for today's momentum plays. And with the first one, we have ARM to the upside.
Yeah, ARM had a really good move in the middle of the day today. If they can break out above the high of day at 168.40, then keep watching them to the upside. Like I said, that intraday pop was pretty insane.
Awesome. All right. With the next one, we have QBTS also to the upside.
The quantum stocks are finally recovering back a little bit. If QBTS can break its high of day around $6.65, then watch it up as well. It closed pretty close to here.
All right. And note the last one, we have Lucid to the upside.
Lucid Motors, really good morning here, 13% on this one. If it can break out above $3.31, pretty much $3.30 at the high of day, then watch them up as well.
Sounds good. So we have Lucid, QBTS, and ARM all on watch for potential moves to the upside if and only if they break above the levels listed. As always, it is extremely important to trade in a smart way. Do not just enter trades, especially momentum style ones, without having a stop loss. This is true for all trades, but it's just even more important for, quick moving trades like these ones. So definitely keep them on the radar and have stop losses before you enter any trade ever. Smart trading habits are crucial. But besides that, Tom, we are all clear for today's $540,000 big money trade. And we are looking at ticker symbol MAG. Today, the big money bought the 20 strike call options for August 15th of 2025. For those of you who don't know, MAG is a silver producing company, and as we know, precious metals have been crushing it over the past year. Gold has definitely been leading the way as it has been continuously making new record highs, and silver has been doing good, but it has definitely been lagging behind gold. As we look at MLG, or as we look at MAG, the stock is at $17 a share right now, and the call options are closer to $20 a share. So initially I was a little bit, a little bit skeptical considering how far out of the money these call options are. But when I looked back at the charts and saw like how much the stock has moved just over the, past 6 weeks, and even further than that, it has the potential to move in a pretty strong way. So basically, this is like a high risk, high reward trade. I like the setup overall, and I'm excited to see how it does.
Yeah, and it goes all the way out to August as well. Like, there's still a lot of time to this, and I will say, I think a lot of people are pretty skeptical about silver with where it is right now on the chart, given resistance here. But I would say, given everything going on in the world and everything, that I would not be surprised if we actually saw a silver breakout of this resistance, like maybe more up to $30 plus over the next few weeks, and that would be pretty good for MAG here, which is actually already breaking its resistance, right? It's almost like, Mike, it's actually kind of like the silver setup, except it's actually breaking out, which is kind of because it moves with silver in a pretty good way, as we can tell comparing these two charts here back and forth. But it's actually breaking this previous resistance, which is really good to see in the short term. And I'll definitely be watching it up. Any of these big money plays on metals lately have been extremely interesting.
No doubt. So either way, keep a close eye on this one. And on a side note, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to smash that subscribe button to get our videos recommended to you more often. We cover the most important news, earnings, information, chart setups, big money plays, and everything else you have to know about in normally 20 to 25 minutes or less. Sometimes we go over that if there's a lot to talk about. And we, basically look through hours and hours of news and important information to, put it all in one simple, easy to watch, sometimes entertaining video. So if you want our videos recommended to you more often, definitely hit that subscribe button. But before we move on, Tom, we definitely have to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, President, who crushed it with some SPY call options as he made over $1,200 and 128%. So let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah, let's go, President. That's great. SPY had an awesome day today. There were so many amazing profits posted up in the Discord, but great job to you, President. Love to see the post there. And just going through today, Mike, I mean, there were so many great plays and just great posts in general. Even like looking back at like the high-risk scalps today with HIMS, 500% on that options play. Intel with 388%. It was a great day in the Stocked Up Discord, that's for sure.
Definitely, yeah. Today was a phenomenal trading day. If you missed out on it, definitely consider, of course, the StockkedUp trading floor has a lot of great tools. We'll have the link for that in the description in the comments down below, but also definitely consider using Bookmap because it came in clutch, especially with like HIM's price action today and many other stocks. So, consider increase or adding more tools to your trading arsenal if you did miss out on some of these setups, because movement like this brings upon a ton of opportunity. Like you mentioned, Tom, there were 500% gains just with the HIMS calls, let alone all of the other big movements. So great stuff there. Definitely check out the links down below. But besides that, guys, don't forget the market will be closed on Monday, so let's make sure to trade in a smart, long-term, risk-protected way tomorrow. Let's follow the money, have stop losses, and make good trading decisions. Thank you all so much for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.